What about this food piece? So this is going to be in our dish, which is a issue about cuisine and so forth. So what is he saying with this piece?
Well, this, again, is in the tribute to Chanel section. So he's taking a kind of, Chanel did a lot with these bows and, comfortable suits. But she also did a lot with polka dots. And so what he's superimposing on the polka dots is a little bit of fun, cherries sort of being the buttons for the bows.
Right.
And then also the orange slices, and then the watermelon around the collar, and the watermelon prevalent design there. He uses the watermelon a lot.
Because we were talking about it with the T-shirts.
We wear the peace T-shirt that's carved into a watermelon. The watermelon for Italians is very symbolic of Southern Italians and the culture of Southern Italy. And not in a positive way, really. And so he took a symbol of kind of, I don't know what exactly.
Well, no, just go ahead. It's okay. Just be honest. So it's like an ism. I mean, it's a stereotype, so to speak.
Yeah, the stereotype of a Southern Italian.
She's not how to say this.
Yes.
So it's racist. Yes.
It's racist.
Yes.
It's in Italian. There's a saying that Africa begins in Rome, but the Romans actually say Africa begins in Naples. It's very funny. So anybody who lives south of you,
right?
And they're associated with eating watermelons, and not in a kind. Now, hopefully, nobody talks in those terms.
Oh, well, they
but
do.
That's what it was for him.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
And that leads us into a very rich section, the body of his work that's around the theme of Italianità, which means the essence of being Italian. He loved being Italian. Although he traveled a lot at the beginning of his career, he was in London, Paris, and New York all the time. He partied at Studio 54.
Oh, yeah.
He was a bit of a wild man. But he was most at home in his small but penthouse apartment, driving around in his pickup truck and being surrounded by everything Italian. And so here he's celebrating a very common, there's a sports newspaper that a lot of Italian people read. It's printed on pink paper. It's called the Gazzetta dello Sport. And he is calling it the Ragazzetta dello Sport, which means young girl sports pages. So he's making a joke. And then it's a couture suit that he's pairing with a T-shirt.
Yes.
That says, it has the Mona Lisa depicted, and says a very famous Italian signora. Yes, she's very famous. But he's also expressing pride in Italian Renaissance painting. Here, this T-shirt, that's a couture T-shirt. And so what does that mean? That means it's, lovingly handmade.
Lovingly.
That's a screen print. It's not industrially produced. It's a screen printed self-portrait
I was
of
going
Franco.
to say, yes.
As though it's Franco as Caravaggio, the famous Italian Baroque painter. But it's actually referencing ancient Rome. And so we have that T-shirt tucked in, this Cruise Me Baby, so that's it. He called his resort wear line Cruise Me Baby. And so we have the Colosseum, another ancient Roman famous site. And then this blazer, it was shown at the same collection. this blazer was extremely popular and iconic. And if you ask me like how I selected things, this, just seeing in the press how many people wore this, so
It was a must.
the
Yes.
popularity at its time, with a long evening skirt or jeans. Just classic. And look how it's cut. It's going to make anybody look beautiful. Very flattering cut. Very beautiful drape in the fabric choice. And he was funny, you know.
Yeah, we know
So,
that.
this is a very expensive dress. It's couture, so it's made to order.
Can we talk about that? You said expensive, so give us a roundabout figure here. What are we looking? What are we look? I just want to know
I'm
to
so,
compare. Because if you
yeah.
tell me how much this is, I can kind of, estimate of what we're
Well, it's
looking
hard,
at.
you know, I spent most of my time researching what it cost. You know, what I know is what it cost when it was made.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. So it's like at that time, something like a $5,000 dress.
Wow. Yes, that's expensive.
Then.
Yeah, it's expensive now too.
It's expensive, and
Yes.
here's what's funny. It is expensive, but it's called fake.
Fake.
With the arrow pointing, those are not, you know, from a distance, and you know it's couture.
Yes.
You assume those are maybe emeralds and at least crystals.
From a distance, but as soon as you, yes,
The
as
glass
soon,
beads.
all right, as
And they
soon
even
as you
look
get
like
close,
plastic.
right.
And so he's poking fun of couture at the same time he's making it. And this is why the critics didn't like him, and the fashion business people really didn't like him because he was making fun of them. And he was also potentially, you know, modifying their bottom line if people stop buying a lot of
Sure.
expensive clothing. And his point was not to buy it, but just don't be a slave to fashion. Don't do what the advertisers tell you. But this is pretty funny.
It is.
But it's a brilliant design, and the
It is
fabric is
funny.
gorgeous. The fabric is gorgeous. And then also from Cruise Me Baby. So in Cruise Me Baby, he paid tribute to all the great Italian tourist sites. So this is Venice. It's I Heart Venezia, which is Venice in Italian. It has the two pigeons there. They look like lovebirds.
They do.
And again, just beautiful drape and lots of attention to detail in his work. So we've got these wooden heart buttons.
Front and back. Yes.
And just the detailing, the pocketing and the lapels. Embroidered on the inside of one of the lapels is a heart, red heart.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
and
see. Yes.
You'll notice throughout the exhibition, we have, so we've got 6 themes, and then we have 5 symbols.
Yes.
And because I noticed there were 5 symbols that were always present throughout his career in what he did, either in his advertising campaign, because he was a great graphic designer. He also designed his ads and the shop windows. People helped him with the shop windows, but he designed
But the design.
them. And it was pretty much hands-on. And he designed the ads, the advertising. And so I was curious about these symbols. So I'll just tell you what they mean. They're important to him. So the cow. The cow to him was, and if you listen to our video interview with him, he talks about the cow representing naturalness and calm. He loved cow. He had a pet cow.
He had a pet cow.
He rescued a friend of his had a farm, and this one cow was sick and somehow orphaned. It was going to be slaughtered, and he saved it, and she became his pet cow, and he would visit at the farm. And he observed how peaceful this animal was, and that he just loved this cow. And so in interviews, he talks about the cow for him was the symbol of how much we could learn from the cow. And that's why you'll see the cow in many of his clothing and accessory lines. And then the question mark. He started using that the last 18 months of his life, and it symbolized the mystery of the future. What next?
And so what were the other symbols? Those 2. I know we have the smiley face Is it the smiley face and the peace sign?
Smiley face, peace sign, and the heart.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
the heart comes in gold and red. And those hearts are also on some of the couture labels from the very beginning. And that's because at the core of everything he did, really he was all about peace and love. And we're talking about the 80s, so that was not the predominant culture. He was channeling the 1970s. He was very interested in hippie culture, the Back to the Garden movement, and he was very strongly anti-war and anti-violence.
Why so obsessed with black, white, and red, you think?
Black, white, and red, again, I lived through the 80s.
Yes.
Especially in Milanese design, it was a trend. He was not the only designer to be using that palette.
So I'm a little surprised to hear you say or mention the word trend with Moschino. It's particularly him because I feel like he was anti-trend, or...
That's extremely insightful.
Yes.
And he was anti-trend. But I think he just had, sometimes you can be on trend without knowing it. I will give you a personal example. Since the 90s, I've been wearing leggings and tunics. These aren't leggings, it's something else. But, so now they're, I go in and out of trend, being trendy.
Got you.
So I think it was his personal... He liked black and white because he was trained as a fashion designer, a graphic designer in ceramics, and other. He was not a fashion major. So I think he had a strong interest. Also, his interest in comic books, strong graphics tend to be black, white, red, primary colors. Also, as I mentioned earlier, he matured artistically when he was in art school, and when he began working professionally, the predominant design aesthetic in Milan was Memphis. The furniture, it was black, white, red, yellow.
Okay.
Some blue. It was postmodern. And so you can't... He was extremely original, but he was also a man of his time.
Sure.
He wasn't living in a vacuum, so to speak.
Sure. Understood. Want to talk about these before we wrap up? Okay.
Well, this is what most people think of when they think of Moschino.
Absolutely. Particularly now and currently. This is what you see currently.
This is what Jeremy Scott is resurrecting. This part.
Cartoon couture.
Cartoon couture, which one of the branding images for this exhibition is a detail of a skirt that's in part paying tribute to Chanel because it's got the gold belt, which she used, with a coin that says cartoon couture. That is so funny. And that's because, so that message is, let's not take couture. Let's not take the fact that I'm wearing like a $10,000 skirt or whatever.
Yes.
So seriously. This is really ridiculous. I mean, even he knew how ridiculous this was.
Yes.
But for people to be happy with the clothes they're wearing and people who are blessed to have a huge income, what's wrong with that, right? So he didn't read a lot. He was very smart, not exactly an intellectual, but he was extremely intelligent.
Yes.
But he always said he didn't have patience to read books. He only looked at the pictures. The only thing he read were the comic strips because he loved them, the graphic design, and just a few words.
Straight to the point.
Exactly.
Buzzwords. Boom, pow.
Boom.
Right.
Wham.
Right. You get it.
Yep. So he just he recognized the genius of the design and the message. So here you have cartoon couture, so you've got this fun design on the bodice of this exquisite evening dress, of this extremely soft, very sinuous material, very sexy, so that's see-through, and this would have been worn with no bra or very lacy, contrasting color. And it has a lot of detail, again, in those, the pleats and the bows in the front, and just the way the bodice drapes over the waist. It's, again, exquisitely constructed.
Now there's what?
Yeah, that's olive oil.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow,
well,
it is olive oil.
Reference is Kara Walker. So even the first time I saw this skirt, so the skirt is from Deirdre Grubb's mother.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes.
And when I first saw it in her closet, I thought, oh my God, is Kara Walker doing fashion?
Right.
So that was my ignorance, and I learned, no, that's Moschino doing olive oil. He did the whole series, so I did all my research. And in fact, the reason he got involved in that, this is definitely his favorite comic strip, was Popeye. Because he thought he looked like Popeye. Now, you can go look and see his image in the resource room. You can decide.
Right.
But he really thought he looked like Popeye. And in one advertising campaign, he has a pipe. And he's got the sailor clothes, and he's got a can of spinach.
Oh, he really thought he was invoking Popeye.
Yep.
Okay.
And he loved olive oil. He loved her fashion sense. And but anyway, so here it's cartoon couture, but he makes this beautiful suit. Influence, collarless like Chanel, boxy, beautiful fabric, absolutely exquisite.
And what are the punches of red? Like,
why?
I wonder. Yeah, they seem to be sporadically placed.
I think it's a design element. They're buttons, so he's displacing them in a way. So that would be surrealism.
Right. Yes.
And the blouse that's under there is so exquisite. It's all laced down the back like a corset.
Wow, yeah. Okay, you can kind of see. Is it in the front too?
No,
Just
no,
in the
it's in the
back?
back. You can't see it. You'd have to scooch down.
Scooch
I can
real
see-
low.
I know it's there. Every detail that is just exquisite.
And then this piece.
Yeah, this is probably the most iconic of all. Many museums have this suit in their collection. So this is known as the Liechtenstein suit because the pattern of the fabric is based on a very famous Roy Lichtenstein painting. And Moschino actually wrote to Roy and said, I love your painting, Girl with a Ribbon in Her Hair, so much that I want to use it as the basis for a design, and I'm going to put in the balloon, I forget what this is called, in a comic strip. What do you call this thing?
Text bubble?
Text bubble, not balloon, bubble.
Well,
yes.
okay.
In the text bubble, I want to put the famous line from Gone with the Wind, tomorrow is another day.
Is that what?
Yeah, domani un'altra giorno means tomorrow is another day. So he's referencing two different great icons, the painter Roy Lichtenstein, or the artist Roy Lichtenstein, and then the movie Gone with the Wind, in this and also in the same way, kind of a tribute to pop art,
absolutely,
Warhol,
yes,
too, the broader pop art world. But what he really sees is design and how all this works on a woman's body. Again, because the construction, it's really it really follows the contours of your body. And it's very flattering because if you I'm sure you all know this, but a vertical line is makes you look taller and thinner. And so you've got that vertical sweep, even though there's a lot of busy pattern, which tends to make people look larger, but he flatters the woman by putting the text bubble
That way, because immediately your eye goes there.
And then
it elongates, right, correct.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was a commercial success, a critical success, and is, as I said, preserved in museums throughout the Western world.
Right.